Hello there, everyone. This is Michael. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Automata. That's the studio behind the game Star Atlas. And I have to say, I'm really excited to be putting this recording together for you today. And I'm going to be talking about really two core applications that we have online today. That's Star Atlas, the grand strategy, open world space exploration MMO. That's built in Unreal Engine 5. It has incredible cinematic quality graphics and gameplay. And while it's still in the early stage of development, there's actually a lot that you can do in there today. And then I'm also going to be talking to you about our browser-based application. That's called Sage, Star Atlas Golden Era. This is more of a real-time strategy game, a 4X game, if you will. It is a persistent open world multiplayer map. It's 2D in browser, but this is really where the heart and soul of the Star Atlas economy lives today. And to me, that is one of the really critical elements and promising elements of what Web3 brings to game development. In so many ways, what Star Atlas is as an MMO is much bigger than a gaming product. It's a gaming platform that allows people to co-create alongside of us. And as I said, it's an open economy, a digital universe with no borders, with global participation, with labor markets for all, and opportunity for people all over the world to come and play, have fun, and participate in this economic structure. So I want to talk to you all about a little bit of all of those things. But the first thing I'm going to do here is actually jump into our Unreal Engine client. So let me make that transition over there. And what you'll notice here immediately is that we don't have an account creation process. We've actually developed out technology that allows your wallet to integrate seamlessly directly into the game engine. Now, you could use a hardware wallet, you can create a wallet, or you can import a seed phrase if you already have a hot wallet that you store assets in. Now, as it exists today, the only functionality for this really is that we use the wallet connection to analyze the assets that you hold in that wallet, and then those are the assets that you have available to you to play. Now I'm going to plug in my password here, and I will say this is a demo account, so by no means am I using best practices for security on that, but I would highly encourage you to, of course, use a strong password, and we generally always recommend using a hardware wallet if that is accessible to you. So what do we have? We are on the landing page here. There's a bunch of different settings that you can go through, options to configure various things like audio and graphics and key configuration, photo gallery for any of the screenshots that you've taken. I want to point out this right here in particular, experimental mode. Always turn it on in my opinion. Now, experimental mode, it gives you access to a number of different gameplay options and environments that you can explore. I will emphasize again, Star Atlas is actually quite early in a very long roadmap of development, but we've been rolling out releases regularly since 2022, and the idea is that we build this MMO over time and we give you access to features and gameplay loops and a form of entertainment as well as a way to participate in that economy I was referring to along the way. So you can join us in this journey of game development, and we hope to keep you excited as you go. So I'm turning on experimental mode, so I have access to all of the different gameplay modes. And you'll note here I also have a character loaded up. I have a ship in the background. Just going to quickly point out that in the inventory system, which again pulls from the assets that you have in your wallet, you can go through and configure this ship. You can modify out the power core, the warp drive, thruster, shield generator, etc. We actually have all of these components, these individual components that can be crafted and slotted into your ship in ship configuration, all coming in the future. So I don't want to overpromise on where we're at today, but the idea is that these are the types of items that other players are going to be crafting and then applying to their ship to modify them. And there's a bunch of different configuration menus here that you can go through. And if you have skins like the Coins PH skin that was given out tonight, that is actually applied to this exact vehicle. This is called the Visus Solos. So just a quick check on that. And then for crew, we have quite a few different options as well. I happen to like the Ooster. but we also have factions of Mud and Oni. Ooster are your sentient android beings. Oni is a consortium of alien races, and Mud is the future remains of humanity. Earth was destroyed in Star Atlas lore, and we're now living in the year 2620. So this Marise is an Oni character. I happen to quite like the look of this as well, and you can apply some different skins. Over time, more skins will be earned through gameplay or crafted by other players. So let's just go with this for now, and we'll get back out of here and let's jump into some gameplay. You'll notice with Q and E at the top, you can navigate through the menu. So I went from Showroom, Showroom Experimental, so a slightly expanded map, a lot of raw features in there, a lot of incomplete features, but if you want to get experimental with it, you can. Flight Trainer is really cool. This is a dogfighting arena, so ship versus ship in space combat, as well as a race course on that map. Outpost 39 is really just a beautiful scene that you can go explore. The Oni Central Space Station. Each of these three factions will have a central social hub, and this is in the safe zone of those regions. This central space station is again in a pretty early stage of design, but if you want to go explore what that home base of your faction will be in the future, we have an option for you to check out Oni CSS today. A single player time trial course against bots, a combat course against bots. These are both vehicle racing, and a gunplay trainer. Now, I won't go through every single one of these, but I am going to hop in just into Showroom for now. I also want to make one little note here as well. It would be a huge overstep to miss this. We currently have multiplayer tests running. We've partnered with a company called Metagravity for user concurrency scaling. So how do we get tens of thousands of players or hundreds of thousands of players into a single instance, a shared server, and a single shard, all seeing the same thing with replication of all actions across all of those players? That actually has proven to be quite a hard challenge for MMOs to solve and most games to solve. You'd probably note a lot of games that you play today might have only 4 players in an instance on a map together at a time. You see that scale up to maybe 128 with games like Fortnite, or 100, I believe, actually with Fortnite. But our goal, our vision is to have this single universe with everyone connected within, and those social centers is where we expect to see tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of players running around in the future. We've been stress testing that technology alongside this gameplay mode that we're calling Surge, and it is a shooter-based faction versus faction game. You can fly around this map and kill other players. You collect their tags, and then you have to take those to various extraction points to lock those points in for your team, or those tags in for your team. But uh, while we're testing over the past couple of weeks, and we'll have another test coming up in very short order here, probably a 24-hour test coming up, maybe today your time actually, or over the weekend. On April 20th, very important date, on April 20th, we are running an incentivized version of this test. So if you get in and play on that day, you get a kill. You will earn Atlas based on the amount of time that you spent in the game, and you'll also earn our upcoming crew member drop. So we haven't ever sold crew members before. We will be selling those in the future, but if you play today, you'll also get one of those crew packs. Our goal is to get as many people into this gameplay mode to stress test those servers and make sure that the technology is working as we expect it to. I bring that up now because on this screen you will see a surge mode inserted when we are running the live test. Okay, so for now, let me just jump back into solo play in the what we call the showroom. And it wouldn't be a presentation without some minor technical difficulties, but we're loading in now. Okay, so what this gameplay mode is mostly just an exploration of the visual fidelity of the game. However, there are some really cool things in here that you can already experiment with. You can hop into the tram and take yourself out to another spot in the map. I'm not going to do that right now, but you can use the controls to go fly way down there. You'll note already I'm jumping around and just kind of intuitively using some of the movement mechanics. We have some cool mechanics. We have a knee slide. This is actually cool with weapons. We have a dodge or a dash mechanism. We have flight, well, jetpacking, and you can also go into Superman mode to get yourself around the map. Now, on the lower right-hand side of the screen is where your endurance is at. So if you do run out of stamina or endurance, you will need to rest yourself before you can take flight again. But this has proven to be pretty fun when we're in this multiple hundred-player PvP map in Surge. All right, so I'm going to load up one of these terminals. Now, there's different things that you can do here. You can go to the marketplace. This is fully integrated with our Web3 on-chain marketplace, so you can buy items that are for sale from other players. You can also sell items that you have to other players directly within this Unreal Engine environment. You can navigate through teleportation around the map if you just want to fast travel for now. This is a feature that isn't going to be persistent throughout the game, but for right now, for convenience getting around the map, you can do that. And then your ship pad. So you'll be able to set ships. Now, I don't have very many ships on this account. I only brought in the Vizu Solos. You'll note this Floyd Line Aerospace 1 here. Now, the Floyd Line is a medium ship that is available for anyone to use and play for free with right now. And the Vizu Solos, again, that's the ship that the Coins PH skin was crafted for, so anybody that owns this ship and the Coins PH skin would be able to apply that to your ship. Let me just start with the Vizu Solos really quickly here. Alright, and just want to show off some of the beauty of the art here. There's something like 54 ship models available in the game today. They are all flyable. Many of those have ship interiors that you're able to explore. I will actually load on one of these other terminals over here. Let me just load that Floyd liner up so you can see what that looks like as well. And the ships go from fairly small to absolutely massive in Star Atlas. This is just a medium ship. We have large ships, we have capital ships, commander ships, and then we also have Titans. And you may have heard us talking about the Titans. It's been somewhat newsworthy. 4 different groups have recently purchased Titans. These are very, very expensive assets, but they're also extremely powerful assets in the game, and they take up essentially this entire map. So they're an entire environment on their own. So let's open this up. I don't want to leave my gate down, so I'm gonna close that up here. Or maybe I won't. I'm hitting the wrong button, but let's take the elevator up into the interior. And you have little rooms that you can get in and explore. If you get tired while you're traveling long distance in space, you have a place to take a nap. Here's your server room with some cool controls. Another bedroom. Another bedroom. This has a special place in lore. We call him Ted. Share more on that later. And there's your head in case you need to use the restroom. So what I just want to point out here is that we do have a lot of high fidelity design across the game, and if I wanted to, I could jump in the turret seat. Now you could use this ship with multiple friends. You're all occupying a different seat and a different job or a different role. So one person could be managing the turret while another person is actually flying the ship. If I wanted to be the pilot, I would hop in this one. No, I'm not going to fly this ship around. Let me actually get out of here and get into the solos. And just really quickly, what I want to show you is hover mode. I went into flight mode here so I could go into the air. Now, what you're looking at from the sky is a race course. So you can activate a time trial race course. This will just be against the clock. You're not competing with anyone else in this particular race course. But we do have leaderboards. And so you are able to compete just on the leaderboards to see if you can get the best time on the course. I'm giving you the high level view, the Goodyear blimp view, if you will, of what the race course looks like. There are actually a number of different race courses, but one of the latest advances we made in this is that it is a continuous loop, so you can go underground, and I'm using controls here for vertical takeoff landing, for sway, for rotation as well. And I'm going to go back really quickly into hover mode. Now I'm on the ground. And this is going to be one of the key gameplay mechanics that we have in our upcoming releases. So we have two major releases this year in Unreal Engine. We have a private closed access beta that we're looking to roll out in a couple of months, and then we have, and that will include various forms of incentives or loot, kind of a battle pass, if you will, for playing daily, for completing missions, and helping us stress test this game while it's in private beta. But the big release for the year is moving into a public open access, full multiplayer supported version of the game. This is running 24/7, and you'll see people running around all over the map. Now, the core gameplay mechanic will focus on this hover racing that you see me doing right now, but if I don't pause here, I will get too involved in the game. So let me take us back. That was a quick tour of the showroom. Let me take us back into a few of these other environments. I'm going to run through these ones fairly quickly, but we do want you to get out and explore these yourself. I'm getting into the flight trainer. This is the dogfighting arena. So again, this is where you're able to load in your ship and go compete. It's all PvE, but waves of opponents will fly at you, and you are able to test your skills in air. Just another absolutely stunning environment to play around in. This is one of our capital ships that you're looking at here. This is actually the C9, the Pierce C9. There's a lot of depth in the lore. There are 8 different manufacturers in the game. Each one of those manufacturers have a different design style and aesthetic. Ships start at $15. They go all the way up to millions of dollars. This particular ship is a $30,000 asset, but you can see these are not just JPEGs that you're buying when you buy an asset from Star Atlas. And if you really wanted to, you could even jump in and test fly this ship today. And speaking of test flight, I should have mentioned this, but we do have free test flights available in the showroom every single day as well. It will rotate with 3 different ships, so not only do you get that Fimble ship that I was flying, the Floyd liner that you see in the distance, but there's also a range of different ships and they rotate. So you can always jump in and experiment with a ship and see if you like it before you make any decision. You can see I kind of went through the ship here. So this is what we're talking about, early access. Not everything is polished, but I am now flying a C9. And we have different views that you can take. Here's the cannon view, third person view, and then this is really the pilot view there. So this thing is quite difficult to manage, as you can imagine. So with that, I won't actually be starting a dogfight match right now, and I'm just trying to get this thing turned around, and she is a real beast. So uh, let me close out of this mode, take us back to the main menu once again. All right. And the last one I want to show off, there are some other cool modes, but in the spirit of time, I'll let you explore these on your own. Time trial, this is against other cars. So you're racing or against other vehicles. You're hover racing in a time trial course against NPCs. This is combat racing. So again, you're in the car racing, but you are shooting and destroying other vehicles as you go. I like to describe this one as kind of like next generation Mario Kart with really high-end game assets. And finally, the gunplay trainer. This is a third-person shooter map. This is also against bots. Suffice to say, I'm extremely excited about the potential of multiplayer supported, and that's what the Surge stress tests are all about. But for now, if you just want to get in here and look for some people to kill, you can do that. So I'm only going to give you a quick test of my skills before I look bad. Alright, and I am out of there. And there's a bunch of different items you can pick up on the map. Shotgun. This is grenade. Oops. That was a poor throw. That was a poor throw. That was destined to happen. So there are different items you can pick up as you play. This is also competitive in a way, just against the bots, but the idea is that you're getting points, and your points will also go on the leaderboard. So you can see if you can get yourself up to the leaderboard. With that, I think I've embarrassed myself enough here. Let me quit back to the main menu. A lot to check out here, so I've already been talking for quite a while on this alone. What I do want to do now is just transition us over to Sage. That's the browser-based game. And so let's take a look. Now here in Sage, obviously not quite what you just saw in the MMO, but what's important to us again is creating accessibility access points for all players. And the MMO in Unreal Engine 5 does have pretty significant computer requirements. If you don't have a higher end gaming PC, it's not fully optimized right now, so it might be difficult for you to get into the game. But we have another way for you to get engaged, and that's through this RTS or 4X game. This is, in fact, multiplayer, and if I zoom in here, all of these little dots that you see, these are all players taking various actions. And the ships, these here are ships that are moving. This is some player that's moving right now. They obviously just landed in this sector. Let me see if I can find. Here we see some ships, and you'll see them. Some of them are moving very fast, some of them are moving slower. That's either subwarping or warping around the map. There is a very complex economy beneath the surface of Sage. Again, it might not look like much, but there's actually a lot going on here. All of the mechanics are fully on chain. Things like fleet creation, inventory management, movement, coordinate systems, localized inventory systems, and really what this is all about is extraction or crafting, mining and crafting of items. And so when you start as a new player, you would select your faction. Now, I can also turn all of these off. If I want better performance, I can turn all those fleets off. Let's leave them on for now. You are going to spawn in one of those three central space stations. This is the Ooster sector, this is the Mud sector, and this is the Oni sector. You'll also note that some of these have the tags of MRZ, that's medium risk zone, and these are your mud sectors or safe zones. The safe zones in the future are essentially where new players can learn to play without taking on risk of getting engaged in PvP. One really cool thing about Star Atlas is that we have these various security zones throughout. This is just one galaxy, by the way. This is Gallia of a broader universe. The game will expand over time. But within each of these galaxies, you'll have the zones that are dedicated for new players, more PvE, learning the ropes, and leveling up. When you start to navigate into medium risk zone, other players from around the map can actually come and attack you. So you have to optimize your fleet to be able to do the functions and actions that you want to take, but at the same time, make sure you're not getting ganked out there while you're participating in some action. There's also the high risk zone. This is not implemented yet, but that will be the center of the map. And within the high risk zone, we have a concept of permanent asset destruction, which means if you take your ships in there and they get blown up, that is a completely gone asset. It will be burned from the chain, and the victor in that will be able to salvage or reclaim some of the items that you had, including the inventory that you had. But this is part of the balancing mechanism that allows for ship crafting in the future, so inflation of ships alongside ship destruction. Okay, so just quickly here, jumping into what are the different operations or actions that you can take. Um, Let me actually, I'm not even connected right now. Once again, no account creation, but you just connect your wallet. I happen to have this demo account connected here. I will note Solana right now in particular is experiencing some pretty significant challenges. It's probably the worst I've seen it in terms of performance in the 3 years we've been building here, but they're it's really all hands on deck right now, fixing the and resolving the issues that are outstanding with network congestion and stability. I do have a lot of confidence in that team to be able to figure this out and get us performing again. That should all be coming pretty soon, actually. But what I'm doing now is I've connected this wallet for the first time to this account. Now, I do use hardware wallets, so I actually need to get that uh, unlocked right now. Okay, and let's just choose. I'm just going to choose Ooster here, or we can do Philippines crew. Now, I'm hoping this actually goes through because with the it was a bit of a risk for me to do this on recording, but I wanted to do it this way so that you would actually see the account creation process. Uh, Transactions right now are failing, they're timing out. Typically, this is not the case. It is a bit of a risk for us to build fully on-chain gameplay mechanics. Okay, I was actually able to get that created, and I can, if you have multiple characters, you can choose across those. That worked pretty seamlessly. So thank the demo gods for making that one work right now. Um, but it's a bit of a risk for us just in the sense that why are you building technology on the blockchain? Why does everything operate on the blockchain? In a single word, it's on-chain composability. And there are already a number of teams out there, independent of our studio, that are building out applications, features, DeFi services, things that interconnect seamlessly with the Star Atlas ecosystem that wouldn't be possible if we weren't building all of the game logic on chain. People that are building automation services that allow you to optimize the way you operate your fleets within the game. And I know automation is a bad word for a lot of people in gaming. We have a pretty hard rule. If you're creating a tool that allows for automation, it needs to be open source and it needs to be accessible to every single player in Star Atlas. We want a fair playing field. We don't want asymmetric advantage for anyone, and that's what we've seen so far. So we're working hard to detect any of those tools that people are perhaps building behind closed doors and working to prevent those. But at the same time, if a feature enhances the quality of life for a player by allowing you to automate certain processes, it's really still part of the game in my opinion, and I love to see this innovation going on around Star Atlas, and we really want to support that. So now I'm logged into the game. Couple of things here. Uh, we just rolled out this version of really what we call Sage Labs. That was something that we launched back in September of last year. This is Starbased. Starbased is our latest release. This actually just came out less than a week ago now, and we're pretty excited about all of the changes that have come. One of those is that we've included now on-chain experience. You're able to go in and level up your account today in anticipation of a lot of big changes and restrictions that are coming in the future. Won't get into all of those right now, but one of those is something called council rank. In the council rank system, you have to level up and you have to apply points to various skill trees to be able to actually get in and bring all of your bigger ships into the game. In the future, you won't just be able to bring a big ship immediately in. You have to level yourself up and develop a proficiency in piloting or captaining a ship to be able to operate those large assets. And so, right now, though, it is completely open. Any ships that you own, you're able to bring in, and this is in a sense, a pre-leveling for all of the players that are here in these early stages of development. So as you take actions, you'll see your XP increase, and you'll also be making progress against piloting, data running. This is a scanning process in the game, mining of resources, as well as crafting items with those assets that you've mined. And then there's one other thing here. It's called loyalty points. Now, loyalty points is a metric that tracks the uh, the actions that you've taken in the game that contribute to the success of your faction. Now, what players are responsible for in Starbased is going out and leveling up all of these star bases. Now, these all started at well, we have a 5 tier system. They all started well, correction, we have a 6 tier system starting at tier 0. This goes all the way up to tier 5, with the Central Space Station being the only tier 6 starbase in the game. But the players are extracting resources through mining at each one of these various starbases. They're crafting items that are input requirements, and they're contributing to upgrading or leveling up of those starbases. And for doing that and helping your faction, you're earning loyalty points. So, if I go into just starting with the Central Space Station, here is what's going on with the base. People right now have not been supplying food, which is actually a requirement for you to be able to craft there. And so the faction itself is supposed to be working collectively to ensure that these are maintained so that all processes are open. Here's your crafting workshop with a number of different crafting recipes. All of these are different crafting recipes. They all require different inputs. One example, ammunition, which you're burning right now in the mining process. In order to craft copper, you need to go out and mine copper ore. You refine that into copper, and then you can take your copper, and you can see it requires 2 copper. You can craft a single ammunition. And that's true of all of these. You can go through and look at all of the different recipes. Now, what's really cool again, and kind of getting into the economic side of this, is um, earning LP, which I should have mentioned. Earning LP is a metric that we use to determine an Atlas emission payout to you. Atlas is our in-game currency. And so your proportional share of total LP generated in a single day, we use a 24-hour window in what we call an epoch. Your proportional share is what determines your share of the total amount of Atlas that goes out on that day. So that's one way for you to earn Atlas through playing, is helping to upgrade these star bases. Alternatively, you could take the approach of mining copper ore, refining it into copper, returning that and crafting that into ammunition, and selling ammunition to other players who need that ammo to go out and mine more resources. We have a very vibrant economy going on right now with hundreds of thousands of dollars exchanging hands on a pure peer-to-peer basis per week. So it's the economy really is flourishing in Star Atlas, and it's still a relatively small user base. We have about 1,500 daily active users in here, and I think the potential for where this can go is just absolutely massive. So that's crafting, staff efforts. This is where you would actually see crafting processes as well as upgrading processes for each star base. Port of entry. Okay, so here's my one Vizu Solos that I was flying around with in the showroom, uh, which again, I guess I should point out here is one of the cool things about building everything on chain is that even though these are two completely independent products, or by appearance they uh, all of our game products have are replicated across the other. So in the future, when you're playing Star Atlas and you're at one of these star bases and you're helping to upgrade in the Unreal Engine client in Epic Game Store, you will see that same activity reflected here in Sage. So you're part of a unified single universe, because all of the data is being stored directly on Solana, and we're referencing that data through the game clients. So it is just one big world. You're not in a separate world if you're playing in Sage from someone that's in the MMO. It's all one universe. Here's my Visu Solos. Now, what I would need to do is deposit that Visu Solos to the Starbase. That is how you get into the game. You take the assets that you own, you effectively deposit them to the Starbase, and then it would become accessible to you. Accessible to you for things like forming a fleet. If I had more assets or if I brought that asset into the game, I would see those all listed here, and then I can customize how my fleet looks. You have a restriction of 145 points, and every single ship has a different point value. And you can create these fleets to optimize for things like mining, for things like transportation or freighting, for things like combat in the future when we add combat to the Sage game client. So I'm not going to do that right now, but this is where you would configure a fleet. Here's the LP exchange. You can actually see how much LP has been generated in the Ooster faction already. We have 18 hours left now of this particular epoch, and this is the daily reward for the Ooster faction is 1.5 million Atlas per day. And as I generate LP, I make the decision of when I want to contribute it. We see a lot of people trying to optimize for uh, to maximize their earnings on a particular day. If there's a day where not many people contributed loyalty points, they might decide to harvest all of their loyalty points on that day and redeem them in hopes of getting a higher distribution of that Atlas. And then at the end of every day or every epoch, you'd be able to come in here and claim any of the Atlas rewards that you have, and then local inventory. So as you mine stuff and deposit that to Starbases, it will exist there. And this is actually a very important point. Uh, all, as I said, coordinates and movement are fully on chain. If you have, say, aerogel or hydrogen or fuel at a starbase out here, you can't just immediately deposit it to your CSS. You have to bring a fleet, load it into inventory, and then transport it back. And you'll see that movement times are fairly long, especially if you're subwarping. So you have to think about all of the logistical challenges of how you want to play in this strategy game. So that was just the CSS. A lot of these are similar details across the different star bases, but as you go in, you can see things like what is available to mine. So at this particular star base, you can mine copper ore. If you wanted to refine and craft that ammunition, this would actually be a good place for you to go. And ultimately, again, we are adding combat to the map in throughout this medium risk zone. So in the not too distant future, you will see other fleets flying around. And if you're just trying to passively mine on one of these star bases, it's very possible that one of those players will destroy your fleet and will take any inventory that you have. So I feel like that was a lot. Hope you all have a wonderful evening.